Hello, Dr. Amanda Pennington. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks.
Well, good. Well, look, I really appreciate you taking a little bit of time today just to talk with me. A lot of times when people are thinking about a coach, they just really don't know what to expect. So, sometimes I ask clients like you just to share a little bit about your experience. What has coaching done for you? What's the experience been like? Because it's a whole lot better for people to hear it from you than it is from me. But before we do that, maybe you can just share with anyone who's watching, who you are, what you do, and then we can go from there.
Sure. I am a board certified family physician. I've been practicing in the area for 20 years or so. Worked for the big organization for a long time, and about 5 years ago decided I wanted to do it differently. Came across a model called direct primary care, and now I have a direct primary care practice. Not long into my direct primary care practice, I also expanded to include some aesthetics, and a couple of years ago had the opportunity to move my direct primary care practice into a space where there was an existing med spa, and now I have both Pennington Primary Care, my direct primary care practice, and Pennington Med Spa, my med spa.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. So if someone wanted to find out more about Pennington Primary Care or your med spa, how would they do that? I guess
Sure. Yeah, well, the website is probably a good starting point for both of those. For Pennington Primary Care, it's www.penningtonprimarycare.com, and it explains a little bit more about what direct primary care is, because that's a different model. For the med spa, it's penningtonmedspa.com, and there's a list of our services and an explanation of what those services are.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I know you do a great job, and I know that the thing that motivates you in all this is you have a big heart to help people in a better way. So I'm sure that'll come out when people take a look at your website if they do. So anyway, back to let's talk about back when we first met, and what was it in what you saw or heard in talking with me that made you think, maybe I should think about a coach and have a little deeper conversation, if you recall what that was.
So I heard you speak at a 1 Million Cups presentation. It was around the time that I bought my new space and moved my direct primary care practice over, took over the med spa, acquired more staff. And I was just struggling with how to operate both businesses out of one location, merge the staff together. And I don't remember exactly what you said that resonated, but something did, and I reached out to you.
Well, that's good. I appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun just getting to know you and getting to know your business and seeing the things that you've implemented just since we've talked. That kind of transitions to the next question, which is, share with folks a little bit about what are some of the biggest benefits that you've seen from, having a coach to help you out and mentor you with your business.
Sure. So as the sole proprietor of these two interconnected businesses, I oftentimes get caught up on working in the business and not working on the business. And you've helped me formulate action plans, held me accountable in completing those action items. And you've pushed me to do those challenging things that I felt uncomfortable. And I tend to procrastinate the uncomfortable because I'm busy enough. I got plenty of other stuff to do.
Sure
But
do.
you also helped show me that I could and should empower and trust my staff to take some of that off my plate that would then free me up time to do some of those other things that I should be doing. That's been good for me.
You've done it, and you deserve a lot of credit for that too, because you've taken the bull by the horns and you've taken steps that weren't necessarily comfortable with, but when you had somebody to talk it through with and weigh the pros and the cons and a little bit of accountability, you've always stepped up and done what you needed to do. And I think that it's had some great benefits for you.
Thanks.
So yeah, you're welcome. So let's see, next thing that comes to mind, is there anything, so those were the benefits and you probably would have expected some of those, but are there anything that you've got, is there anything that you've gotten out of coaching that was somewhat unexpected or a bonus, if you will?
Yes, I got a new friend. And I mean that. I think that you genuinely care, not just about the success of my businesses, but about me as a person and my well-being. And I
Well,
appreciate that.
well, I appreciate that too, because that's what drives me. That's what I love to do. I love when I hear how what that's the difference between possibly a coach and a consultant, because a consultant just comes in to fix problems. But what you've really embraced is this is about more than just your business. This is about helping people create a better life while they build a business and create better opportunities for their teams. I think that's one of the reasons we've worked so well together, is because that's something you want to do. And I really appreciate that, though, because that's exactly why I do this and enjoy it so much. So let's see. So if there was someone who was on the fence, thinking about hiring a coach, perhaps me, or at least even talking to a coach, because there were 2 or 3, I don't know how many conversations we had, 2, 3, 4 before we decided to move forward. What would you suggest that they do if they're at all curious about improving their business or quality of life, or making that transition from working in the business to working on the business? What would you suggest they do?
Well, I don't know about other coaches, but I know you offer opportunities to watch introduction videos. You offer informational webinars. Um, I had a consultation with you, a couple of consultations with you
Yeah,
before we ever decided to move
right.
forward. And I think if anybody's thinking about it, then make the move on getting more information. I'm glad I did.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you did too. I really appreciate that. Well, coaching has to pay for itself, and it has to be worthwhile, or else it's not worth doing, right? So
Right.
I'm really glad you were kind enough to take a few minutes out just to talk a little bit, and hopefully we can share this with other people who might be on the fence, and let them know how it's helped you, and maybe it'll encourage some other people who need a little nudge to get them over the hump too. Well, super. Well, again, thanks for joining me today, and I'll look forward to talking with you soon. All right.
All right. Great.
All right.
Thanks,
Take
Mike.
care now.
All right. Bye-bye.